Welcome to Plentiful Gardens. Today I'm going to walk you through how I'm going to double dig this raised bed, and then I'm going to transplant some tomatoes in it. I'll just walk you through the process and show you how I go from blank canvas or blank raised bed to transplanting tomatoes. This is the area that I'll be working with today, and the raised bed is 7 feet long by 4 feet wide. I started by removing all the rocks and sticks from the area, and then I just went ahead and started forking it so I can loosen up the soil. The first step that I'm doing is I'm just forking the first few inches, so I just go in at an angle. If the soil is too hard, I go at an angle and then I just push it with my feet, and I'm just trying to lift the soil a little bit, and that makes it a lot easier to pull weeds. So for example, here I already forked it, but push in and then gently push it down. Let the tool do the work. I'm still learning that, still practicing that. And then it's gonna make it easier to just pull the weeds. As you're working along, one of the things I highly recommend is to take care of your wrists. So use the tool to pull weeds or loosen the first 4 inches of the soil. So I'm just gonna continue on with forking the 4 inches, and then I'm gonna remove the weeds before completely double digging the bed. And I just went all around the raised bed, loosening up the first few inches. This definitely took a couple hours to do. And then I just got a bucket and started collecting all the weeds. And the weeds, I don't put them back into the compost. I just put them into the green bin, which gets composted by the city. I remove all the weeds from the raised bed. The next step I'm going to do is to start the double digging process. So I'm going to remove about the first 12 inches of the bed and put it in buckets, and then I'm going to fork down roughly 12 inches, and then the next step I'm going to do is remove another 12 inches from this side and just move it down to the first 12 inches that I remove, and fork that, and then just move along until I have double dig the whole bed. I'll just show you the process for that. The first thing I'm going to do is put a board down, so as I'm working along I don't compress, so I don't compress down the soil. And it's about, so I'm gonna dig first about 12 inches and put it in the buckets. So I'll show you. And I'm still learning how to do double digging, but one of the key things that I'm learning is that you have to let the tool do the work. Put the shovel down. I use my feet at an angle, and then I press down on the shovel, so it uses the force to scoop down the soil. And when you go to the bucket, you just let the soil slide off the bucket. That one's really hard, so I'm just gonna loosen it up, move it back and forth, and scoop. Don't, I would say, if it's too hard on your back, just step back, take a breather, wiggle the shovel back and forth. There's the first, I would say that's about 6 to 10 inches deep, but that's okay. And there's the soil in the bucket. So now I'm just gonna take my fork and put my feet at the top of the fork and then just wiggle it back and forth so I can get deep into the soil, probably another 8 to 10 inches. And this spot is very clayey. And just can move it back and forth, wiggle it, then try to lift the soil a little bit, and then just move down the trench in this motion. So now I'm just gonna move the board back about 6 to 8 inches. I'm just gonna come in here and move the soil over, filling in the trench that I just forked. I'm still learning this part. This part is kind of tricky for me, but the point being is you move the soil over and then you end up with a new trench where you're going to fork. I'm going to fork down again, creating another trench, and we just move down in that pattern. My soil is very clay, so when I find big chunks of clay, what I do is I just use my shovel and fork it down. now that I double dig the whole bed, I'm just gonna use a rake to even it out. Double digging also gives me a chance to find plastic and just throw it away. Once I start double digging, I make sure to not step on the bed.
Then I just went all around the raised bed and raked it to make it even. And then I gave it a good watering. Then I got a stick that was 18 inches long as my marker, just so when I'm planting the tomatoes, I can space them apart.
I'm going to mark where I'm going to be planting the tomatoes. I'm going to plant them in a triangle pattern. So first one here, from center to center, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
And this is the tomato patch where I have a lot of volunteer tomatoes coming up. And I'll be taking some of these and transplanting them into the new raised bed. Before transplanting it, I give it a good water so the roots come off the ground a little bit easier. Also, when transplanting, I remove all the brooms so all the energy goes into establishing into a new home. And these are the first 2 transplants that I did from that patch. And definitely the next day they were looking a little sad, but they came back. And this is one of the seedlings I started myself from seeds. And then I just continued on. Every 18 inches, I water it. I water the spot where the new seedling's gonna go. I put some compost in there, and then I water the compost, and then I put the seedling in, and I put some good compost around it, and then I give it a good watering again. Continue that process every 18 inches. And make sure after transplanting that you give it a good watering.
I completed the tomato raised bed, transplanted all the tomato plants. I put some compost around the plants. And for this last step, what I'm doing is I'm taking some mulch, and this mulch came from the leftover of the compost. So once I swift the compost through the mash, this is what I'm left over with, and I'm just gonna use it as a mulch for the bed.
Unfortunately, a lot of the seedlings that I started and transplanted into the raised bed died because I went on a trip, but I had some backup seedlings, so I just went ahead and transplanted them.
It's been a month and 1 week since I did double digging in the bed, and I just want to show you how some of the tomatoes are doing, especially the ones that I transplanted once they were like about 1.5 feet. So the ones that I transplanted from the other bed are producing fruit already, and they're doing pretty well. Some of them should be ripened pretty soon here. I did stake them up, and I removed a lot of leaves at the bottom so they could have good air circulation. And here are the other ones that I transplanted from seedlings, and they're doing pretty well. These are a little bit behind in length because these are the ones that they died, so I had to replant them again. And in between them, I'm trying to grow some basil, and I have some cosmos popping up, but I'll be transplanting those ones. Thank you for watching, and happy gardening.